The office party was held at a luxurious rooftop venue, the kind of place where everyone pretended to like each other under the warm glow of fairy lights. My wife, Hannah, had been talking about it for weeks. Her team celebration, she called it. She spent extra hours picking the perfect dress, styling her hair, rehearsing her jokes. Something about her excitement didn't sit right with me. She hadn't looked at me like that in months. Still, I went, partly to support her, partly because deep down, something told me I needed to see what she was hiding behind that radiant smile. The moment we arrived, it was clear she was in her element. She moved through the crowd like she owned the place, laughing a little too loudly, touching arms when she didn't need to, and glowing under the approval of her male co-workers. One in particular stood out, tall, confident, and with that careless smirk men wear when they think they can have anything they want. His name was Aaron, her work buddy. I'd heard that name too many times at home. The way her face lit up when she saw him told me everything words couldn't. I stood silently, sipping my drink, pretending to be just another face in the crowd, but I saw it all. They joked, danced, and shared inside stories that left me feeling like an outsider in my own marriage. Every time he leaned in to whisper something, she giggled like a teenager. At one point, I caught her glancing at me, a quick, nervous look, like she knew she was crossing a line. But then she looked away just as quickly, choosing his attention over mine. That was the moment I stopped feeling hurt and started feeling cold. Something inside me clicked. I wouldn't react tonight. I'd let them believe I was the fool. And then I'd remind them both exactly who they underestimated. Later in the evening, while Hannah was across the room chatting with friends, Aaron approached me. He had that smug confidence, the kind born from ego and ignorance. He grinned and said, "You're a lucky guy, you know? Hannah tells us all how patient you are. She says you're not really the jealous type." His tone was dripping with sarcasm, and the people around him chuckled quietly. I smiled back, playing along. "Yeah, patience is a virtue," I said calmly. But he wasn't done. He leaned closer and whispered, "She deserves a real man, though. Someone who knows how to keep up." He laughed, that arrogant, dismissive laugh, and patted my shoulder as if I were beneath him. In that instant, the world around me went silent. Every noise, the music, the laughter, the chatter, faded. My blood didn't boil. It froze. I looked at him, really looked at him, and smiled. "You're right," I said softly. "She does deserve a real man. That's why I let her show me exactly what kind she wants, and I've already sent the video to your wife." His face went blank, the smug grin draining in an instant. He blinked rapidly, like he didn't process what he'd just heard. I leaned closer. "You two might want to check your phones." A beat later, his phone buzzed. Then hers. Across the room, I saw Hannah pull out her phone, glance at the screen, and turn pale. Her glass slipped from her hand, shattering on the floor. The entire room froze. Aaron stumbled back, stuttering, his face ashen. Hannah's co-workers looked confused, whispering among themselves. I just stood there, calm, composed, watching the chaos unfold. The truth had arrived, not with yelling or threats, but with quiet precision. Everything I'd gathered, the texts, the hotel receipts, the photos, had been sent to Aaron's wife, to HR, and to every person in that department's group chat. Hannah rushed toward me, eyes wide, voice trembling. "What did you do?" she whispered. I smiled faintly. "What you taught me, patience. You said a real man doesn't overreact, remember? I just waited for the right moment." Tears welled in her eyes as she tried to explain, but it was too late. The whispers had turned to murmurs, the murmurs to gasps. Aaron's wife had just walked in, called there by my message. She stormed straight to him, slapped him so hard the room went silent again, and then turned on Hannah. "You," she hissed, pointing a trembling finger. "Stay away from my husband." The humiliation hit Hannah like a storm. Her co-workers turned away, some in shock, others in disgust. Aaron's boss, who had been watching from the bar, walked over and said coldly, "We'll talk Monday." That was the end of his career, and hers wasn't far behind. The party, once vibrant and full of energy, had become a graveyard of broken pride. I adjusted my jacket, gave her one last look and said, "Enjoy your real man. You both earned this." Then I walked away, leaving behind 2 lives unraveling in real time. Outside, the night air felt different. Cool, liberating. I got into my car, started the engine, and watched through the window as security escorted them out, their heads low, their arrogance gone. My phone buzzed non-stop. Messages, apologies, desperate calls from Hannah. I didn't answer. There was nothing left to say. She had spent months treating me like I wasn't enough. Now she was learning what not enough really looked like. The next morning, she showed up at home, makeup ruined, voice hoarse from crying. "Please," she whispered. "I made a mistake." I looked at her with calm indifference. "You didn't make a mistake, Hannah. You made a choice. And choices have prices." Then I handed her the divorce papers I'd prepared weeks ago. For the first time, she didn't argue. She just nodded, tears streaming down her face. It took years to build my peace back, but that night taught me everything I needed to know. About patience, about truth, and about self-respect. She and Aaron lost everything. Their jobs, their reputations, and the illusion of control. Me. I walked away with dignity, freedom, and the quiet satisfaction of knowing that the real man finally understood what one really looks like.